Teacups, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking all about my N.E.W.T.s Readathon wrap up. I had originally planned on reading 7 books and I ended up reading 10 books. Super proud of myself. If you aren't familiar with this readathon, I will have all of the links down below. So for charms, I read Love Her Wild by Atticus. This is a very aesthetic poetry book. Overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5 star rating, which is not bad, but it's not like my highest rating. And then for herbology, I read How to Houseplant by Heather Rodino. This is a beginner's guide to making and keeping plant friends. I really enjoyed this book and I learned a lot. If you're interested in adopting some real life plants, I would definitely recommend this book. It's super informative and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 star rating. And next for herbology, I read Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This book is about a girl named Lena, and after her mother passes away, she goes to Italy to live with her father, and this is a young adult contemporary novel, which I really enjoy young adult contemporaries, and I love this one so much that I read it in one sitting. I could not put it down. It had this whole mystery to it, and I just had to find out what was going to happen next, and it was just such a cute romance novel, and it was magical because it took place in Italy, and now I really want to travel there. And yeah, it was just so great. So I gave this one a 5 out of 5 star rating. Honestly, if I could give it a 6 out of 5 star rating, I would. And then the last book I read for herbology was The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. This is also another poetry book. I will say that the strong points of this book would be the emotions that were expressed throughout her story. This one definitely had some pretty heavy poetry in it. So if you're looking for something lighthearted, I probably would not recommend, but it did have some really important topics that were discussed in this collection of poetry. So yeah, overall 3 out of 5 stars, not bad. And then moving on to divination, I did a reread of The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. I love this series and I highly recommend, especially during this time of year. This is such an autumnal read. So this is actually the 2nd book in the Raven Cycle series, and I listened to the audiobook because I love the audiobooks for these. And these books are really hard to explain, and I usually tell people when I'm talking about the Raven Cycle series, I usually say just go into it completely blind because it's better that way. So all I will say is it is very atmospheric, full of magic, and full of amazing friendships. So 5 out of 5 stars, love that series. And then for Defense Against the Dark Arts, I did a reread of The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. As you can see, I have some page tabs throughout. Not only is this super informative about starting a bullet journal, but it's also so inspirational. It will definitely inspire you to live your best life, and I love these kinds of books. Yeah, it's a really great nonfiction read if you're interested in starting a bullet journal. I would say this is a really great place to start. So it says, track the past, order the present, and design the future. Super great. 5 out of 5 stars as well. And then also for Defense Against the Dark Arts, I read Your Guide to a Stylish Home by Domino, and this is discovering your personal style and creating a space you love. And this book is all about designing your dream home, which I love. It talks about flooring, it talks about wallpaper, it talks about furniture, color coordinating, and just overall designing your home the way that you want it, and designing it in a way that really reflects who you are. So really enjoyed this. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. For Ancient Runes, this I did a buddy read with my friend Taylor. I will have her channel linked down below. This is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I fell in love with this book. I knew nothing about this book. I actually had never heard of this book until I saw Taylor's TBR, and I was like, hey, if you want to do a buddy read, we can read this together. And she was like, yeah. So we listened to the audiobook together, and I just loved this book so much that I wanted a physical copy. It is such a beautiful book on the outside and on the inside, and this tells the story of a girl named Imani. She's in high school. She's a high school mother, and she has a huge passion for cooking, and so it was just a super sweet book, and it just really captivated me. And I would recommend the audiobook because the author herself narrates the story, and she has such an amazing voice, and she's so vivacious and lively, and it was just so amazing. So I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. And the last class that I took for the Newts was Muggle Studies. So I did a reread of Insta Style by Tessa, and this is Curate Your Life, Create Stunning Photos, and Elevate Your Instagram Influence. So I read this, I think it was last fall, and it was really nice to go back and revisit this and just kind of get a refresher, because this book honestly has so much information. If you're looking to kind of up your Instagram game, I would highly recommend. It talks about everything about Instagram. It talks about taking photos, editing photos. It talks about how to use the proper hashtags, how to read your analytics. Highly recommend. I gave this a 5 out of 5 star rating, and it also has some super beautiful photos for inspiration. So the last book on my list was Love and Luck by Jenna Evans Welch, and this is the second book to Love and Gelato. This one takes place in Ireland, and this one is told by Lena's best friend's point of view. Her name is Addie, and she is going on this road trip with her brother and her brother's friend, and it's super crazy and super fun, and I really love this book, but I think I actually loved Love and Gelato a little bit more. I didn't actually read this one in one sitting like I did with Love and Gelato. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5 star rating, and yeah, that concludes my N.E.W.T.s Readathon wrap up. I still can't believe I read that many books, and feel free to let me know which books you read for this readathon, or if you didn't participate in this readathon, feel free to let me know which books you read in August, and I will see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye! Oh my gosh. Nope, stop! No! This is so not gonna work out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.